Well, let me say good morning to you, one and all. We pray that you had a restful evening and that all is well, and we're grateful to God for the privilege of being with you right now. Um, we know that we are in a good morning, Ayana. How are you? Uh, Gina, Belinda, Jalen, I'm sorry, wrong person. Um, I am grateful to God for what the Lord has done. Let me get a couple of things out of the way first, and I want to. Hi, Michelle, Trina. How are you this morning? Good to see those of you who are coming on board. Um, Good morning, Roland Crystal. How are you, Minister Faye? Good to see each and every one of you. Lois, how are you this morning? Carletta, good to see you this morning. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you. Um, First Lady Lynette Frost Brown, good to see you this morning as well. I want to share, first of all, I want to thank God for the Union Church, which to me is, and it should be because I'm biased because it's the church that I pastor, um, for being such an awesome. Hey, Sharnita, how are you? Rita, how are you this morning? Vernice, good to see you, and Raymond this morning. Um, I wanted to say this that Union is a great church, loving church. I want to thank God for the men who assisted. Um, in bringing about our outdoor worship experience, parking, praising, and preaching. Pastor Todd, how are you this morning? Sean, good to see you. So I'm grateful to God for that. I'm grateful for the experience, but I need to share something with you concerning the uprisings that have been going on. And I'm praying, Pastor Todd, for Warren, because from what I understand, there's a protest headed your way. Um, I've been silent, and the reason I've been silent is because I've been evaluating. And the reason that I have been evaluating Sean and Laverne is because I've seen this before. I've been down this road before in the 60s and the 70s. We were a part of the riots, and Sean, you know what I'm talking about because you're from Akron, that took place in Akron on Howard Street or Arlington or those areas. Jaleesa, good to see you this morning. And so, Yvonne, here's what I'm doing. Am I angry? Yeah, yeah. Am I I'm not, I want to be holy in saying this, Vincent and Sharon, because I was watching Pastor Todd and I was watching Pastor Jeff last night when they say it's pretty close to the point of wanting to cuss. But I'm not going to do that because I'm the redeemed. Okay. Brenda, Sharon, good to see all of you this morning, but I'm hurt. I'm hurt, I'm crushed, and I'm angry. Not just for what took place in Minneapolis, but the fact that this has been going on for decades. And here's the problem, and I'm not going to take up a whole lot of your time, Marilyn, but I just need Cecile. Glad you enjoyed the worship service yesterday. I appreciate that from Texas. You don't know how much of a blessing you and your husband are when they participate. Patricia, the reason I'm angry and the reason that I'm livid, but it's contained is due to the fact that I've seen this before. I've seen where we riot. Unfortunately, we tear down and destroy our own neighborhoods. We destroy the businesses that service us. We create economic chaos in the midst of this, and then the people who are the perpetrators behind it um, go home. Their neighborhoods are not destroyed. Their viability is not disrupted. I understand. I understand. Believe me, I understand. But here's my problem. We have people, and this is not a Youngstown issue. It's nationwide. We have people who come from other cities into ours, Beatrice, and they create chaos. Belinda, they create chaos. Cora, Gloria, they create chaos. And what they do is they don't go to jail. What they do is incite the anger in the local people so that they act out what the infiltrators won't do. They have been trained strategically on how to create a chaotic situation and then walk away from it. Malaya, good morning to you. I need us to hear this because there are different things that are starting to come out about different groups that are infiltrating our neighborhoods, pretending to be a part of the movement. But here's the problem. If we are protesting over what had happened in Minnesota, why are we destroying property? Why are we in the face of police officers that are not guilty, that have not done anything wrong, that have not, and yes, and I'll get to the rest of it in just a minute. If you just give me a minute, it's going to take me a minute to get this out of me because I have held it in for a long time. And I'm tired of people coming in and using our community to their advantage, and then we pay for it. I am tired of people who are inciting the rage that's local, and then they go back to wherever they come from and they go someplace else to do the same thing, but they're not going to jail. Richard, good to see you this morning. And here's what I'm saying. If you have not registered to vote, if you don't participate in the voting process, your behind shouldn't have been downtown in anybody's downtown being mad about anything, because you too are a part of the problem. In order for this to change, in order for a change, Pastor Todd, man, I'm fighting tears. That's how angry I am over the fact that until we go to the voting booth and until we put people in office who are sensitive to the issues of the entire city instead of a particular constituent that is basically bought out by other entities, we will never have change. We will continue to burn our cities down. We will continue to destroy our economic viability. We will, when we have no place to go home to, they do. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? All right, Pastor Fletcher. Yes, sir, I'll check my inbox as soon as I get done. And so what I'm trying to get us to understand is that until we use the God-given and for-parent paid-for tools, hear what I'm saying. Big Mama, Barbara, how are you? Good to see you, Barbara. Until we use what our foreparents died and were whipped for, until we go, why do you think there's such a horrific push to limit voter participation? Why do you think even right now in the House a bill has been put and introduced, Pastor Lane, into place to cut days of early voting, even though this tactic has been used by the Republican Party for decades. Now they want to cut the throat of the very thing that they have used to keep us from using. Because can I tell you something? We are still in a pandemic movement right now. And the mayor of Atlanta was so on point until it's unbelievable. She said for all of the people who were in the protests that were around the unmasked and the unprotected, you need to go get checked for COVID. Why? Because the probability of this thing spreading is now going to become astronomical. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it makes me wonder if these people have not intentionally been infused in our communities, because we are already disproportionately dying from the pandemic. I wish I had a couple people out here that, and I ain't trying to preach. I'm trying to save my community. I'm trying to save my people, and I'm trying to get us to wake up. Yes, we have a right to protest. Yes, we should be downtown or wherever we need to be, and we need to let our frustration be known. Yes, this is not the first time. I am seeing history repeat itself again from the 60s up to now. Yes, we have a right to let the people who are the power brokers in our city know that enough is enough. But you will never change anything until you put a different person in those seats of authority. And you can't do it if you don't vote. That's right. All of these distractions are happening so that something else can take place behind the scenes. We got somebody that went into a bunker. Now, wait a minute. Do you actually think that I'm stupid enough to believe that what surrounds that house isn't capable of defending that house? So here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to coalesce with other pastors and other organizers and other leaders. Have you filled out your census information? Oh, because see, we always want to blame the cops on some stuff, but you may be just as guilty by not voting as the person who put his knee on that gentleman's neck. It could be your lack of voter participation that keeps someone like him in law enforcement. So while we want to blame everything, and he is to blame, and the other three are to blame, I am not saying that they are not to blame. That is not what I'm saying, because they should be reined in and they should be dealt with by the authorities, and they should be punished for what they did and what we saw them do. But here's the problem. If you are not registered to vote and don't participate in the voting process, if you have not filled out your census forms, which brings viability through revenue into our communities so that we can appropriately be funded, so that we can get the things we need that the federal government is obligated to do for us, I don't want to hear nothing else you got to say. I don't want to hear a god dog thing else you have to say. And the reason I don't want to hear what you have to say is you're not participating in the process. You are not participating in the one thing that we have that gives us power and control. We don't own the multinational businesses. We do not own the Fortune 500 companies, but we own our vote, which puts people in office that are sensitive to not just black and brown people, but to all people. And until we do that, your protesting is a waste of my time. Because until we are able to change the people who sit in those seats, they will continue to cultivate people that are doing what we have seen done. I needed to get Pastor Todd. I don't know if you left or not. Pastor Lane, I don't know if you're still there or not. Dr. Baber, I don't know if you're still there or not. Erica, Lynette Brown, I hope, and pass this on to the mayor and let him know that I said it, because I ain't hiding behind this at all. And this is not just for Youngstown. This is for every single city that we have allowed people. We got somebody talking about thugs and if we riot, bullets gonna follow and all that kind of old crazy stuff that's going on. And if you can't see the scheme that didn't just start, we can go back to Moses. We can go back to the day when Pharaoh recognized clearly that black men are powerful. And the best way to extinguish their power is to exterminate them. Listen, couldn't put enough of us in prison, so now we come up with other things. We need to be on the police force. We need to be on the in the fire stations. We need to be a definite, powerful, present force for equality and opportunity. Okay, Pastor Todd, I thank you for your support, but I just want to know if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Don't play games with me. Tell me I'm wrong. But I'm 63 years old. I have seen this. And here's what they will do, and then I'm gonna get out of here. All they gotta do is wait us out. Because a couple of months from now, when we are not protesting, when we done went back to our habits, when we done went back to our burnt out communities, we have nothing to go back to. You need to fill out those registration forms. Census forms. You need to make sure, and I'm going to say this, I don't believe they'll win this because I'm doing everything in my power through the organization the Lord has blessed me to be a part of to try to offset this. If they cut early voting days, then you need to go vote earlier. When I tell you, I am so enraged with anger that I'm scaring myself, but I have to stay under control. Because here's the trick of the enemy. If he can get me angry and start retaliating, I quit thinking. And when I quit thinking, I then become subjugated to my whim and my will, and I will react inappropriately. But as a leader, as a spiritual leader, I must be able to show you how God can bring us through not only a pandemic of corona, but a pandemic of racism that has been here before the coronavirus showed up. There needs to be an organized effort from every age group that is old enough to vote these people out of office, and then begin to not only put good people in office, but begin to groom good people for office. I'm done. I needed to get that out. I needed to share that with you. I am going to be working with other pastors, along with Pastor Todd and some of the Pastor Simon and Pastor Hurd and others. If I don't mention your name, don't hate on me because I didn't mention your name. But I'm going to do whatever it takes to get every person not only registered, but to participate. And for you who say that my vote don't count, you're guilty of killing that man. Because your lack of voting not just in local elections, state elections, but national elections, are the very reason why we are still in the condition that we are in right now. And you can blame everything you want to on white people, all you want to. Some of the problems that are going on in our community were not generated by white people. If you don't vote, you are just as guilty of killing our people as those officers are. And you can get mad at me, you can cuss me out, you can do whatever you want to do. It ain't changing where I'm at, because I've been down this road before. And I know there are other people who, let me tell you how I know what I know. If some of you remember that when we were galvanizing people together and we were meeting at the Union Church and we were packed out and we had legislative people there, we had elected officials there, state and national, to begin the process of reconciliation and understanding and sensitivity to the issues of minorities, they came after my building 3 times to stop me. They tore up stuff in our church. They broke into our church. They ripped out our air conditioners. They kicked in my door. See, that's stuff y'all don't know. I'm going to tell y'all this story. And then I'm done. A young man came to the Lord long time ago. He was one of the gang members at that particular time. I hope I'm not boring y'all too much, but I need to share this with you. And he said, Pastor, I want to be saved. And I was like, yeah, come on, Lord. He says, I just want to say something. And normally I don't let people talk because you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. And the young man pulled a bandana out of his pocket. He said, I don't want to be a part of the gangs anymore. I said, bless his holy name. Thank you. Then he pulled a clip out of his pocket and he handed it to me. And then he reached under his shirt and pulled out a Glock and put it in my hand and handed it to me. And he said, now I'm ready to get saved. And I kept that gun in my drawer as a reminder of ministry. And when they broke into the church, they knew how to get past the surveillance system, and they kicked down the door of my office. That gun they took. So you're not going to tell me that I don't participate in the viability of our community. You're not going to tell me that I don't put my life, my neck, and my church's viability on the line for the sake of the community. We were fighting against prostitution. We were fighting against drug activities. Hey, Pastor Good, we were fighting against all of those things, and they sent me a message. They tore up our church. They tore up the air conditioning systems. They kicked in my door. And I called the police chief. I told him, I said, this is what's taking place. He said, Pastor, don't worry, we got you covered. Thank God for good police officers. So I've been at the forefront of this stuff for a long time. And I know that marching only takes you so far. And you should. But you should not destroy your community when the people who have perpetrated this foolishness is going back home to theirs. I'm asking you, I'm pleading with you, I'm begging you, quit destroying our own neighborhoods. If you're not registered to vote, your protest means nothing, because they know as long as you don't go to the ballot box, they have nothing to worry about you. Now I'm done. I'm done. I done said all I needed to say, and I don't have nothing else to say. And so here's all I'm saying, and then I'm done. Oh, Carol, you remember that, don't you? You remember that? Yeah, I'm telling you. Union has been vandalized on several occasions because of our stand against injustice. How many of you can say that? How many of these cocky people running around here talking about the church and what the church ain't doing and what the church, how many of your companies have they broke into? How many of your churches have they vandalized because of you standing firm on the word of God? So, when you come with a whole lot of foolishness, I don't want to hear it. This is all I got to say. I'm done. I done said that. I must be a real Baptist preacher because I done closed about 15 times, but I just need you to understand this. If you're not registered, get registered. If you have not filled out your census report, get that thing filled out. Do what you need to do as a responsible citizen so that we can make systemic changes above and beyond where we're at right now. Because if you don't do it, who will? And how many other generations will be subjugated to this level of racism because you wouldn't make a difference? I'll give you a call, Pastor Lane. I'm done. My heart is heavy. I'm hurt. I'm pleading. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna give you a call, Pastor Lane. Pastor Philip Lane. I'm gonna give you a call. I'm crushed, but I'm not destroyed. Because our God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or think. I got to go. I got a lot to do. I got stuff I got to take care of. I got ministry to prepare for. I got all of this stuff that needs to be done. But listen, you have a blessed week in the Lord. Keep your head up. I know I'm going to say this and it's wrong, but Earth, Wind, and Fire has that song, Keep Your Head to the Sky. Don't you dare let anybody take your viability away from you. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare do that. Keep your head to the sky. Trust in the Lord. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. May God bless you. May he, I love you. I love you. I love you, and I love my people, and I love the people of God. May God bless you. May he keep you, is our prayer.